Namaste to all of you, which means with all the love and respect of my head and heart, I bow down to the divine in each one of you. Namaste. Thank you. As a very proud and progressive Hindu, I go by what the Vedas proclaim. Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti, which means God, the truth is one. And wise people call it by different names. And therefore, I will start off by saying, Om Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. At the outset, I invoke the blessings of God, Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. Vaheguru ka Khalsa, Vaheguru di Fateh. 34 years ago this week, I was personally witness for the first time to the state-sponsored hate crimes, violence and genocide of thousands of innocent Sikh men, women and children in India. But none of the accused till this day has been brought to justice. It is this denial of justice which gives rise to extremism and terrorism. We need to equally condemn the genocide of innocent Muslims in Gujarat in 2002, when the current Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, was the Chief Minister of the state. In 2014, when Modi was campaigning as a prime ministerial candidate, and he was asked by the media if he is ready to apologize for the carnage in Gujarat, he said, yes, if a puppy comes under our car while driving, you feel a little sad. Sorry, Mr. Prime Minister, you failed our expectation. Let me show you two video clips. The first of 17th of July and the other 17th of August this year, when I was myself a victim of hate mongering and mob violence. This was done not by Muslims or Christians or Sikhs or Jains or Buddhists, but by the very people of the religion into which I was born into, and which I have been trying to reform. This is the second one. When I had gone to pay my tribute to the departed leader Atal Bihari Vajpayee, our former Prime Minister, on 17th of August. What I'm trying to convey is that I have been, as part of the Arya Samaj movement, trying to reform the Hindu practices like sati or caste system, female feticide, and a few others. Now, this Arya Samaj was founded by one of the greatest reformers, Swami Dayanand Saraswati, in 1875. Now, you might have seen, the video was not long enough, 150 of these assailants were raising slogans, Jai Shri Ram, while beating me up. Swami Dayanand, way back in 1875, gave a clarion call back to the Vedas, which meant back from all sectarianism, blind faith, dogmatism, caste system, gender inequality towards a universal God of truth, love, compassion, and justice. He too had to pay the price. He was poisoned to death by his own people at the age of 59 on the fateful Deepavali day. Rig Veda says, Ano Bhadra Kratvo Yantu Vishwata. Let noble thoughts come to us from all sides. Much as Swami Dayanand's life and mission has inspired me the most, I took equal inspiration from Gautam Buddha, Mahavir, Jesus of Nazareth, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, Guru Nanak Dev, Guru Gobind Singh, Kabir, Baswanna, Martin Luther, Abraham Lincoln, Lenin, Karl Marx, Tolstoy, Swami Vivekanand, Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, Dr. Babasaheb Bhimrao Ambedkar, Narayan Guru, Albert Einstein, and last but not the least, Mahatma Gandhi, who was shot dead by a bigoted Hindu nationalist by the name Nathuram Godse. I have been myself sent to jail for more than 11 times, and there have been more than 6 attempts on my life. But I refuse to give up. Inspired as I am by all great reformers and revolutionaries, I got initiated as a monk 50 long years ago, in 1968. I dedicated my life to be the voice of the voiceless millions, the poorest of the poor in the world, those who are victims of modern-day slavery, called bonded labor and child labor. In these years of our struggle, we have been able to liberate 178,000 victims of modern-day slavery, including several thousands of children. But the struggle goes on. There are minimum 500 million victims of bonded labor today in India, 86% of whom are Dalits and indigenous people. I am also a fierce campaigner against female feticide. Some 50 million girl children have been slaughtered in India even before they were born because of son preference. In mother's womb, they find out the gender of the fetus, finish. We want son, we don't want daughter. Together with hundreds of such great men and women, many of whom I find present in this great parliament of world religion, my mission is to fight this hate, violence, and warmongering, capitalism, neoliberalism, and the present incarnation of fascism in the name of Hindutva. The real challenge is to fight the forces of untruth, tyranny, unfreedom with more truth, more love, more compassion, and justice unlimited. This is what our great prophets and messengers of God have inspired us to do. But for that to succeed, we have to clearly identify not just the individual violence, but the structural forces of hate, violence, and the war machine. The most abominable of these structural forces are the caste system, gender inequality, racism, homophobia, all of which start with the sheer accident of birth. They get reinforced by deliberate and diabolic forces of capitalism, creating a worldwide divide, rich and poor divide, where hardly 1% of the people control 99% of the world's wealth, where people of First Nations, the indigenous peoples, the Adivasis, the Aboriginals, the Maoris are made victims of murderous exploitation and land alienation and cultural genocide by the so-called civilized marauders. In India, many of our land rights, human rights activists have been imprisoned, maimed, tortured, and murdered. and have been called urban Naxals by the right-wing Hindu nationalists. These very forces are defying landmark Supreme Court judgment. Women in thousands are being denied their constitutional fundamental right to equality in religious practices in the name of menstrual cycle. Swami Sandeepanand Giriji is sitting in front of me here. He was himself a victim on early morning of 29th of October, 2 weeks ago, and his whole ashram, Gita ashram, was set on fire and vehicles were burned down by these very Hindu nationalist forces. These modern-day Talibans, Al-Qaeda, ISIS exist in all our world religions, be they white supremacists in the USA or people in power denying children their fundamental right to be with their parents, across borders blocking asylum seekers from Central or Latin America, or Rohingyas of Myanmar, minorities of Uyghurs in China, Chechnya, Kashmiri Pandits, or Tibetans in exile with Dalai Lama. Finally, the theme of this parliament, we talk about the promise of inclusion. It should mean no to exclusivity of religion and yes to freedom of expression, freedom to doubt, freedom to debate, and if necessary, freedom to dissent. Similarly, the power of love should mean standing up against those who are brazenly in love of power. The nefarious nexus between greedy corporates and the corrupt politicians out to commodify everything and destroy this planet Earth. Is it not ironic that while we are calling for justice in this age of plenty, 21,000 children are dying of starvation every day? And cattle and pigs are being fed and overfed in animal farm industries? 1 billion birds and animals are being slaughtered every day to satisfy our taste buds. This is unacceptable. Is it also not ironic that while we are raising our voice for peace, 1,700 billion US dollars are being spent annually on armaments and war machine? We, the people of the world, need to unite and demand a world government and a world parliament based on Earth Constitution. It is high time we stop preaching to the choir or converting the converted. We should mean business. Politics is too important a work to be left in the hands of only the corrupt and criminal politicians. We should join. We should take in our hand that power which can bring about transformation. And therefore, keeping the spirit of this parliament, please respond by saying non-negotiable to these following moral imperatives: gender equality and LGBTQ rights, end to caste system and racism, end to modern day slavery, freedom of thought and expression, end to religious violence and extremism, respecting the sacredness of earth and all life forms. Let me convey, my friends, my very deep Deepavali greetings to all of you. It was on this day that Swami Dayanand breathed his last. And therefore, Deepavali should mean, instead of cursing darkness, let us light a candle of love, hope, and solidarity. At booth 331, you can collect a copy of the Earth Constitution and my book, Applied Spirituality. Thank you.